All right, we have our next interviewee coming up to the stage right now. I'll stay standing. Hello, sir. Curtis, great to meet you. All right, well, maybe we could just start off with an introduction to, I've been saying this. We're not only talking to the folks that, forewent their lunch to listen to these interviews, but also the folks in the food room downstairs that are looking at the live stream, and also all the folks at home that weren't able to make it to DeFi Security Summit. So maybe you could start off just by introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about who you are, what you do, the firm that you're representing today.
Yeah, I'm Curtis Spencer. I'm the co-founder of Electric Capital. I think we're the fund on the sponsors list. We're a crypto-focused venture firm, been operating since 2018. We're a little bit different from a traditional venture firm. We're more engineer-led, so we write a lot of code, do a lot of open source projects. I think it's interesting when you look at people coming into the crypto space. A fund that has an engineering team is kind of an interesting gateway drug. It lets people come into the space from a different vantage point from joining a protocol directly, and then get to see how a lot of different protocols are built. We also do a lot of data-driven reports. So maybe some of you have seen things like the developer report. We index all of GitHub looking for developer trends, et cetera.
Love reading the developer report.
Oh, thanks, man.
By the way. Great. Well, thank you for that introduction and overview of Electric. Super interesting. And how did you and Electric get involved with DeFi Security Summit? Why did you choose to be a sponsor of DeFi Security Summit?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we've been investing across the security landscape a decent amount, so Certora, MuneFi, and I remember discussing with Muli back, before the DSS existed, hey, this would be great if we had a purpose-built conference where it was really just talking about security. Because when you look at the rest of the conference circuit landscape, we think NFTs get a lot of coverage, cryptography has decent coverage, MEV, consensus layers, all of this stuff had a venue, but security did not have a purpose-built conference, and we thought that needed to change. It's sort of like the last bastion. It's probably the hardest thing, and it was kind of weird that there wasn't a dedicated conference for it. So we did it along Stanford Blockchain last time, and the feedback was great, and so just want to extend it, take it worldwide.
So cool. So I came from investing in Web2 security, and there's RSA, there's a million security conferences, but when I joined CoinFund, nothing, specific to security, 2 years ago. But now we have DSS, we have, Securitum, or TrustX, Securium's conference, which is really cool, and I think a few more. So thank you for making that happen with Muli. So these are a couple questions that came up on my own, but what do you see as, because you're the only investor we have on this circuit of our group of interviewers or interviewees, what do you see as the largest opportunities in security investing today, the largest unsolved problems in Web3 security?
Yeah, first off, I agree with Mudit that Web 2 security is still a huge problem, and the intersection of Web 2 and Web 3, sort of front ends getting hacked, we think there's a lot of opportunity there. So building special purpose firewalls or special purpose security to secure DeFi at the edges. I think that's a very interesting opportunity set. I think one thing is just DeFi education in general. No offense to anyone in this room, but I think DeFi security folks tend to be kind of wizards. It's a dark art that they are protecting. And I think we need to flip that to be more hey, this is a normal thing. Every engineer in the world should learn this stuff. Kind of like writing a React app. That's pretty easy to do now. So I think we need to increase the tooling support. So I think things like formal verification, demystifying that is a huge opportunity set. Fuzz testing, all these things that traditional engineers sort of have gotten there with unit testing. I think we need to make it really easy to use for all DeFi engineers.
Really interesting. And this might be an extension or a follow-on to that question, but if that's what's needed, what gets you most excited? What gets your gears turning in the security space?
Tooling just improving across the board. You compare writing a smart contract in 2017 to now, it's just so much easier, right? So that's exciting, just seeing that trend line. More and more people are writing code. That's always great to see. I I think the education set, like we're seeing like pretty great YouTube series now, like on how to write smart contracts. I think we just need to amplify that by 10x. Sort of like you see with like traditional JavaScript, right? Like there's thousands of tutorials out there, and I think we just need to increase it. And then I think the last thing is just standardization. Like there's no real like place to see, hey, this contract has these audits at this timestamp. It's still kind of a lost skill to like go and figure out like which audit applied to which version. And so I think it scares both like institutional investors and consumers away because they're like, well, like how secure is this contract? I have no way of knowing.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about, kind of like defensive security, which I like to call kind of like the monitoring side of things, everything that like doesn't, I guess, is post-deployment security.
Yeah, I think this is going to get very exciting, especially with AI, because you can like scale the monitoring up, and AI is not going to be perfect, but if you have eyes on something all the time, and I'm excited about the AI panel later, just to go into this more, because
You're leading that, right?
I am, yeah.
Fantastic.
So, I think monitoring in general, the challenge with it is if it has too many like false positives, people start to ignore it. And that's the risk with any of these monitoring systems. And so you have to be really good such that everyone, if they get a notification from the monitoring system, it's really like important to look into, because if people ignore that push notification because they get too many of them, then it's like kind of a useless tool.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much. I think we're just about at time. Chris, really appreciate your time and being able to share your insights with the rest of the group here.
Thank you for the good questions.
Absolutely.